Hey Workshop Gang, it is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019, and today I'm going to do something different. If you followed along, you know my introduction video, I talked about how I'm going to do different things on this channel, and they could be a wide variety. I've done a picture frame, I've done maintenance on my power equipment. It could be just about anything. So today I need to do some maintenance on the shop. Now on my other channel, I did an installation video on some seals on the roll-up door, so if you want to see that, go to that channel, Joe Daddy's Garage, and check that out. But today, I need to work on this door right here behind me. Now the shop, I built this in 1996 with a couple of buddies. You know, they helped me out. We did all the framing, stood it all up, put up the trusses, everything. And so this door has been here since 1996. That's a long time for wear and tear and, you know, weathering. And of course the sun rises in the east, which is basically that direction, which comes right into this door every day. Well, I've tried to maintain it a little bit. You know, it's got some rust coming through. Casual airplane today. But it has had some rust coming through. You can see evidence here. This is from carpenter bees that have been chewing up the molding. But the biggest concern I have right now is at the bottom, at the threshold. This thing has just been falling apart and getting worse over the years. So I need to address that. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Now when I built this shop, to pass inspection, it had to have a slab here outside of the door. So I poured a slab on my own, and I guess had I known better, I would have put it up a little bit higher so that it would have supported the edge of the threshold. But at the time, this was put in after the door was already installed. If you look, you can see, you know, there's normal weathering on the door. It needs painted. A little bit worse on this side. I may replace some of this trim pieces on the outside. I'm not sure yet. But my biggest concern is the threshold. Now, as I said, this has hung over here, and over the years it has just gotten consistently worse. On the inside, this is the adjustable wood, or what's left of the adjustable wood, that would meet the bottom of the door and create a seal. And you can just see things have fallen apart, and it's not unexpected. This sort of thing happens. But I need to do some maintenance on it. Now, you could put in another threshold like this, but it would need the support on the outside, and more than likely with the conditions, the wood would still be an issue and probably rot, so I don't want to deal with that. So let me show you what I'm going to replace this with. This is what I'm going to use. Now, I was at Lowe's the other day, and I will say I'm a supporter of Lowe's because they support military veterans. They give us a discount, and I appreciate that, so I frequent Lowe's as often as I can. Now this MD is a brand. I don't know who that really is. You can see threshold adjustable aluminum, so there's no wood in this, and this gives a range of 1 3/16 to 1 9/16, and has a little bit of variance on each side as far as the width. So let me show you what I'm talking about on that. Now this threshold, like I said, is adjustable. It comes with a weather strip or door seal that goes up against the bottom of the door. It comes with a height adjustable centerpiece that strip slides into. You can see the end there. And of course, look at the seal and you can see the shape of the seal, so it will fit in there, and it may slide, or you may be able to pinch it together and let it flare into that opening. What I do like about it, that there is no, I like that there's no wood, but it also comes with these little seal pieces that go against the floor, so you can see those, and then it has some more pieces that are going to go inside that channel right there and act as a seal for the adjustable piece in the middle, and that'll go in later, but I'm just showing you that for now. And like I said, it has a wider portion and a narrow. Now, I would assume, I haven't seen anything specific in the instructions. It doesn't say what direction it should go, but I'm going to assume that the wider portion will go to the outside, and I'll adjust that so that that is supported by the concrete floor and there's no additional support needed on the outside. But I'm going to assume that, at least looking at this. You know, like I said here, the instructions, if you can read that, it says vinyl positive air seal. Oh, okay, here we go. In swinging door. But it doesn't really tell you what that means. In swinging could mean a lot of different things. Maybe if there was an arrow or something that pointed and said this way, that way. I don't know. But anyway, I'll make it work. There's also, whoops. There's also a hardware kit that comes with screws, which I can only assume is meant for a wood floor. Now I'm going to concrete here, so I'm going to have to put some inserts in. And then these little cage nuts and your height adjustment screws are inside of that. So put the cage nuts in, and I'll go through all that sequence whenever I get to that point. Now in my instance, there wasn't a lot holding this in anymore. The nails had rusted away on the ends, and when I had installed this, I had put down some sort of a bonding agent. I don't know what it was, and this not much holding that in. Like I said, that came out pretty easy. But what I want to do now is do some comparative measuring. The instructions talk about some of the tools you'll need, and they show the picture up at the top there. One of those items is a hacksaw. And of course it shows a pencil and a screwdriver and a drill and a tape measure. But it talks about the fact that this piece may be longer than your original threshold. So as a comparison, my original threshold was dead on 36 inches. The replacement piece is 36 and 5/8 inches. So basically, I'm going to have to trim this 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to do these in separate pieces. I'm going to trim the outer piece first, and I'm also going to pull back these seals. I don't want to cut through those at the same time, and it could be, just be in my way. So 36 inches, I'm going to need to mark that. And then cut it. Now there's a couple ways I could cut this. I could use a hacksaw. I could use, if I had a chop style saw with a steel cut blade in it, I could use that. I would not use the fibrous wheel that comes with a chop saw, because it will clog that up. But today I'm going to use what I call a Ziz wheel. And it's just a little thin cutoff wheel. And of course it's in a 90-degree air grinder. I'm not sure if I had the camera on for that last segment, but I had started cutting with this cutoff wheel, and I realized it was taking a little longer than I wanted, and I remembered that I had this cutoff wheel, And this is on my 4.5 inch grinder, and the disc is from Harbor Freight, and it made short work of cutting that off, as you can see here. So I verify the length, and it's right on 36 inches. So I'm happy with that. But now what I want to do is I want to cut off the filler piece. And I'll make a note here. Pay attention to what you're doing, because this filler piece will fit either direction into the channel, but verify your hole alignment for each one of these locations, because if I turn this around and I try to line up those holes, they don't line up. These are off. When you match this one, end one is on, the end one is on, and the two middle ones are off. So it needs to go this direction, and I need to cut off this end. So now that I have the length that I want to press these seals back in to the track that they belong to, and I'm going to take a razor and just trim those off. If you'll notice, I'm cutting from the bottom side because it holds it in the trough and the pressure of the razor won't push it out. If I did it the other way, it might push it out of the trough. So that was easy enough. Alright, so before I get too far along, I want to make sure the main piece is going to fit into the opening. So I'm going to slide that in and line that up with the opening for the door. I don't want it too far out because then it doesn't work as a seal. And the width of the channel here is the same as the thickness of the door. So I'm going to line that up so that the back edge, and I'll show you that in just a second, is lined up with the what would be the opening for the door. And now you can see what I'm talking about. I've got that lined up with what would be the thickness of the door is now matched up with this channel. I want to point this out while I'm here. This kit, like I said, I believe, since it has wood screws in the package, that would tell me that it's designed to go into a wood floor. And obviously I have concrete. So I have some inserts for concrete, and these are for a number 10 screw, which requires a 1/4 inch hole. And I'm just going to use the screws that came in the package and put them in that. And I'll show you the configuration. Because you're not bolting this or screwing this directly to the floor, you're going through that channel, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But what I wanted to point out, these holes look like they're 3/16, which is fine for the screw, but that's not going to work for drilling the hole that'll accommodate the insert. So what I'm going to do is mark all of these locations with a Sharpie. And then I'll come back and drill these with a hammer drill and a masonry bit. Now the way this works is if you want to have a stopping point for your drill, you can attach the handle, which again is very convenient, and you can add in your drill stop. And it does have measurements on here. Looks like they're 1/4 inch marks. So let's say you had, in this case I've got like a I think this bit's about 4.5 inches. So if I were to put that in the chuck and I only wanted to drill maybe a 1/2 inch, I can preset the stop on here to that depth, and when I reach that point, this hits and stops it completely. Now, as I was saying, you can preset the depth. So in my case, I'm installing some number 10 concrete inserts so that I can attach my threshold, and I don't want to go any deeper than I need to, so I can set that pre-stop, or that stop bar, however you want to label it, to just a little bit deeper than the length of my insert. Tighten that down. Perfect. So I already have one insert in place. Tap on that a little bit, make sure it's all the way down. Same over here and over here. Now the instructions show the cage nut going on the bottom side of the channel, and they're showing it using a screwdriver with these little tabs. So if I can show you, it has these little hooks on either side, and so basically, if I can get it framed right for you, either put one hook into the square opening, you can just maybe see it sticking out right there, and then take a screwdriver and press in on the other hook and let it catch, get the screwdriver out, and there you have both little tabs caught. So I want to put all 4 of those in. See if I can show you again here. Get that first side in, push in, get the screwdriver out. Pretty simple. I'm surprised, well, I guess they leave it to the installer to put them together, but I don't see a reason why these couldn't be put in at the manufacturer. But I guess time is money, and if they don't have to pay somebody to do that, they won't. So good. All 4 of those are in, and that was simple enough. The next step is installing the adjuster screws. So it has a slotted end on one end of it, that's for your screwdriver, and it's blunt on the other. So you want to put the blunt end down and get that into that little insert. You know, I was saying earlier about this imagery and how they could do a better job with this door, and I just noticed the bottom of this door is tapered. So if it's an in-swinging door, this wider portion that I talked about, that I already have planned to put out onto the threshold area, would definitely go to the outside, because you wouldn't want that taper, you wouldn't want the lower end of the taper leading into that. You'd want the higher end coming in so that it creates the seal. So that makes sense. That image, I mean, it's hard to notice that, but after looking at it a couple times, I figured it out. I also want to point out that it talks about in step 5, raise channel threshold to desired height by turning adjusting screws, leaving 1/4 inch clearance between door and top of aluminum channel at each adjusting screw. So I'll get everything set in place and then adjust that height and figure out a way to get that gap between the two. And then it says install screws through holes in threshold into floor. Note, short adjusting screws push the height adjustable channel up. The longer installation screws pull the height adjustable channel down and secure threshold to the floor. So basically, the little adjusting screws set the height and also act as a kind of a receiver of the pressure. Whenever you put the other screws down through, it helps push down the main channel by using those 4 screws. It does say to install the air seal strips as shown, and it's talking about here in that little channel where the main or the inner piece will slide up and down. So I need to put those in before I do anything else. So I'm going to install these strips, and I already know that I'm going to trim them off, but I can probably leave a little bit hanging out at the end. Press that in place. There we go. And it takes a bit of pressure to get those in there. Could probably use a little WD-40 or something if you wanted to. Not going to waste your time on that. Now, for me to come up with an easy way to measure 1/4 of an inch, it's going to be hard to get in there with a tape measure. So what I did is I checked my Phillips screwdrivers. These are old Craftsman screwdrivers. And look at that. 250. 250. So I can use these two as a guide when I'm setting the height. Well, if you can tolerate the bird singing and my neighbor's dog barking, I can show you this. Basically, you just turn these and you can push that up as needed. And I'm turning them clockwise. A little bit at a time. And then I'll close the door and see how these screwdrivers fit. Now there, I'm actually making contact with the seal that is already on the door. That may be right where I need to be, actually. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Now, if I need to come back and adjust it later, I will. So now, I'll put the screws into the inserts. Screw them down. I want to get them all started first. And then I'll speed this up a little bit. Now I've already trimmed the seal itself, shortened it up to match the length, and basically yep, I can catch one edge and pull back and catch the other edge. Slips right in. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's nice. Looks like it's sealed all the way across. I don't see why it wouldn't. That's definitely an improvement. Here it is from the inside, and you can see that door sweep actually touches up against the inside of that gray seal. So that's a big improvement. So that's it. I don't think it was that hard to install. Just need some simple tools. Again, it was Threshold by MD, sold through Lowe's, and I think this was less than $20. So good deal. I hope the video was informative, or if nothing else, at least entertaining. And if you would, throw a thumbs up on there, like, share, subscribe, all those cool things, and I'll keep making these kind of videos. I think it's fun to branch out and do different things, but again, I didn't want to load that up on my other channel, and that's going to be all car stuff. So thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. I want to point out on these instructions, it says once you put this onto the floor where you want it, it's not your show. Come on. Come on! Hey, Works Up gang. It is Tuesday, April... Come on, bird! Just whatever happens to come to being...